All right, aloha kako. Good afternoon, everyone. Um, my name is Dirk Minakami, and I am on the steering committee for Compassionate Ko'olapoko, and I want to officially welcome all of you to today's speaker series. For those of you who um, joined us before, forgive me for going over um, who is Compassionate Ko'olapoko, and for those who are new, we welcome you, of course. Aloha, we are Compassionate Kalapoko, a collaborative initiative founded by partners representing the Castle, Kailua, and Kalaheo complexes of the Hawaii Department of Education, Whitmer Community College, and the Harold K. L. Castle Foundation. The Compassionate Ko'olapoko Steering Committee began meeting during the fall of 2019 with a shared kuleana of helping Ko'olapoko become trauma-informed and better able to support youth and their families. Acknowledging that we occupy the Ko Hawaii Pai'aina, the lands lost, issue taken away from the indigenous people of Hawaii, who see the Aina as a sacred ancestor and continue to struggle to care for her. We are guided by the wisdom of the kahuna, community leaders, families, and educators. Compassionate Ko'olapoko's mission is to foster a culture of caring. In other words, we aim to cultivate a flourishing, thriving Ko'olapoko where the youth and their families are resilient and compassionate so that they can take care of themselves and others. We accomplish this by serving, restoring, and honoring the ancestors' efforts to teach others the practices that help make this Aina and people bye-bye. And this event is funded through generous support from the Noble Foundation, Education First, the Rockefeller Foundation, and Nale Aloha Foundation, all of whom we send a heartfelt mahalo. And so I'll turn it over now to Gail Silva, our Compassionate Ko'olapoko Educational Officer.
Aloha, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Derek. So it's my privilege now to introduce our speaker for today. Sierra Dew is the founder and director of Wisdom Circles Oceania. She is a mother, artist, and community worker with over 20 years of experience in teaching, collaborative healing work, and design. She was born on Maui and raised in her family grocery store, Mana Foods, in Paia, where her passion for community and health was inspired from a young age. Her experiences inspired her to found the Wisdom Circles Oceania organization to offer healing-centered, creative opportunities to further our potential for actualizing our dreams for healthy communities and ways to connect restorative frameworks for addressing trauma through art and Aina-based practices. Sierra has certifications in eco-art therapy, trauma-informed expressive arts therapy, creative coaching, and a degree in fashion and textile design from the Polimoda School of Design in Italy. Sierra currently resides in Kaneohe with her partner and son. Please join me in welcoming our speaker, Sierra Dew. Sierra, it's all yours. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful to be with all of you today and just welcoming you. And I hope you're all doing well. I know it's a Monday and a lot of folks just joining right after work. So I have some interactive activities planned for today. I had something a little more like presenting plan, but I was on my way to drop my son off at school today and he had a total meltdown as I was dropping him off this morning and tears streaming. He was sick, so he didn't want to get out of the car. And after his kumu came and she got him to come out, distracted him. And afterwards, then I had my own meltdown because there's been a lot going on, a lot of stress. I've been sick this week and it just made me kind of reflect on the timing with Mahina right now and us being in this Kaloa phase, which is a really good time for reflection. And when I was in that moment, it was kind of like I had this choice. I can, spin out or kind of like spin in. And thankfully, I chose to come in to myself. And that's sort of the message that I got was, we're all so like inundated with information all the time. And let's do something that is really more interactive. And so I felt in the end, that the meltdown was supportive to me because I was able to create that moment and that space for reflection. And that doesn't always feel like a choice, I know, for anyone, but I'm just, really thinking of all of the transitions that we've all been making in the last couple of years. And especially, I know that there's some a lot of teachers and counselors in on this call and within this Compassionate Ko'olapoko community. And I just want to say mahalo to all of you, because I know that it's been such a challenging time, and all of you caring for our keiki right now. And just wanted to offer something that perhaps all of us can utilize for stress relief, and something simple as well. We'll kind of build on the activities, and through that, I'm hoping that will support in demonstrating some of the ways that we can lower pressure, be more trauma informed when it comes to using artistic practice, and sort of pull apart what that means, but more inviting like your observation or that observer part of yourself to kind of take notice, like, okay, what is there things that are working in this session today, and what are they? And if there's kinds of ways that I'm communicating that aren't working, that maybe you wish I said in a different way, also inviting you to kind of translate that into your own way too, that might resonate with you more deeply. So we are going to get out our colors and our paper. I'm hoping that you all got the message. I'm sorry I was a little last minute to make sure you had that, but Gail so generously made sure to email that out to you. So I'm hoping that you have that. So any colors, so this is where I'm going to talk about lowering the pressure. Any colors are fine. You don't have to have any kind of fancy materials. In fact, the least fancy, the better, because the less perfection we have of the way to use them. And I just want to share that a lot of times as adults and people that are in, that we are in different kinds of professions where we really do care in our perfectionism about the quality of our work and what we offer to the community and to folks, that a lot of times we want to be perfect on the first try, and that comes to our art too, and often that can cause a lot of anxiety and this kind of conversation in ourselves, like, I'm not artistic, I'm not creative, like I can't do this, or so I just want to share that in the activities that we're doing today, the art is really, we're just using it as a tool for processing. In fact, it shouldn't be pretty. It does not need to be pretty. It will not make it more beneficial if it's pretty. So it will, so I'm just inviting you to, we'll mostly be working with color, with pattern and shape. And so those, if you can draw a shape, if you can pick a color, that's all you need to be able to do. So I hope that supports, and we'll also be going through a little bit more in terms of like lowering the pressure as we go along. So as we begin, I just wanted to say, if it feels uncomfortable for you to have your video on while you're drawing, or, we'll also be taking a few deep breaths as well, and kind of tuning in to our own internal system and body. If it feels more comfortable for you, you're welcome to turn off your video, but just don't get distracted by the other things around you, because I know sometimes that can happen. But I just wanted to share with you to please do that. That is one of the ways that, that we are being more trauma informed or more healing centered, is that there are diverse ways that we can access the activity. So please, I'm just reminding you to please do what feels the best in your body and helps you to tune in to yourself and not be distracted, as I know we're on the screen. Okay, so first of all, I'm just gonna close my eyes. And like I said, let's have our colors and our paper ready. We're just gonna, so first of all, we're going to maybe place your hands on any particular area in your body that might need some extra support or nourishment right now. Placing your hands there. And we're gonna take a few deep breaths together. And if you can please just tune into the rhythm that feels best in your body. Whatever that is in this moment. Becoming aware of where you're sitting right now. Feeling the weight of yourself on the ground or in your chair. And tuning in on the inhale, just bringing into your body, seeing any colors or shapes that feel good or any energies that you want to bring in right now. Maybe it's calmness. Maybe it's peace or love. And then just seeing what you're releasing as much as you can, or just imagine it. And then you're going to take your colors, and you can keep your eyes closed if that feels comfortable, or you can open them, whatever feels best. You're just going to draw that rhythm of your inhale and your exhale. There's no right or wrong way to do this. Inhale, exhale. You can even add the colors or any shape or pattern that you want to bring in on that inhale now. Imagining any specific areas of the body that you want to bring extra energy to. What that looks like. And the same on the exhale. And I just wanted to ask you a question. Is something that you can journal for maybe a minute right now. So, what are the things that help you to find internal quiet? Or what are the things that help you to center? You can just jot those down. You're also welcome to share in the chat if you want. Do whatever helps you to maintain that sort of internal space right now. Just add that in the chat. And going back to your colors and your paper, closing your eyes, and bringing in that feeling as much as you can right now. Focusing on one of those things that bring you that internal quiet and that feeling that comes with that. And showing again through pattern, through color, through shape. What that looks like for you, what that feels like. Just taking a couple moments here, giving yourself that time. Now, hopefully you still have room, or maybe hopefully the back side of your paper. We're going to do a little bit more of an activity, and we're just exploring. We're going to identify a small worry that we might have in this moment. Nothing really huge that's very overwhelming. Just go with something small. Could be an area of pain in your body, a small area. Could be a worry about something that happened today or in the future. Again, nothing really large or overwhelming. And sending yourself a little love, knowing there's nothing wrong with you. We all have things that are going on with us. And so we're going to feel into that place. Notice, is there a place in your body that you feel that worry? Perhaps you want to show that in your drawing. Where is that? You could represent your body like an egg shape or a circle. Just noting where that is. Take note of what the colors are. Is there a color Does it have a texture? Perhaps there's a temperature. Notice if there's any other places it's connecting in your body. Is it only affecting that one area, or does it connect to other places? And then imagining as best as you can, as if you're speaking to the worry. You could even imagine kind of pulling it out of your body and setting it at a distance from you. That feels comfortable. And then with as much compassion and curiosity that you can muster for it, because understanding that the only way that we open up or anyone wants to share is when we show that compassion, and asking, what is it that you need to feel okay? Is there anything that can help? Listening for any messages, as well as bringing in the colors and the shapes that could help free it, that could help loosen it, even if just a little bit. It doesn't have to disappear, but maybe just release it a little bit more. A couple more moments. Finishing up with any words or journaling of them, any messages. Starting to come back. We're going to do a breakout and just do some very small groups, like one-on-one. Okay. Hopefully that wasn't abrupt or cut anyone off. I hate when that happens. Okay, thank you, everyone. Does anyone want to share? I know it's like the bigger room, but if anyone wants to share anything, you're welcome to just unmute if you feel called. feel left out because I didn't see any of them. If there's anything that anyone would want to share in the chat too, was there anything that was supportive or helped you in creating art? Is this, like one of your first times getting back to making art again, maybe after a while, or maybe you're someone who frequently makes art? If you would want to share in the chat at all, if there was anything that was helpful. And then I just wanted to kind of go through maybe some of the things that we did that was hopefully helpful in creating more safety in the space together. So some of those things, and then to me also this goes hand in hand with being trauma informed, and these are things that you can also use with students or your children. So in creating more safety and lowering the pressure in any kind of space, including with other coworkers or folks as well. So one of the main things is like being clear and letting know what you're going to do before, kind of laying out the plan before it happens. A lot of times if someone, has a lot of trauma or is in like a hypervigilance kind of scenario and you're trying something new with them, being really clear about what it is that you're going to do, kind of setting up the situation is really important to lower that pressure. And then, like I mentioned before, making sure that there's different ways that you can participate in whatever activity you're doing, so that it's clear that there's not a right or a wrong way to do this. I'm just going to read what Yvette, I hope I'm saying your name right. Lowering the pressure was helpful. My 4-year-old is constantly asking me to draw cars and buses. This gave me a chance to draw whatever came to me naturally, and that helped alleviate some pressure. Right. My son says this too in school sometimes, like he's always directed at what to draw, and he doesn't like that. He wants less direction, and for some people that isn't safe to them, so getting to know the person, right? Always when you're creating more safety is like really important, like understanding that to create safety is an ongoing experience too, like just to do something right off the bat and expect that it's going to be a totally safe space is not very possible, but to understand that that safety is created over time and in continuous, with you continuously like trying that and through observation and noticing, through body language, like what's working and what isn't, and also asking, right? So always also creating space where there's more choice. So I think that goes hand in hand with there's different ways to participate. Okay, so what are some choices? Maybe with a younger kid, you're giving just like one or two, like 2 choices. Maybe with older children, they want more choices. When there's a lot of trauma, usually less is better. But some people have gotten so much directives and so much that to understand that just by being human, by being told what to do, that automatically causes resistance, and so if we can, to me, being trauma informed is also acknowledging each person as the expert in themselves. And so we're creating the space and the opportunity for them to access that information. And so if you can, instead of directing, perhaps like going back to the choice, like, what would it feel like to try this? Would that feel good to you? What is something that worked for you well in the past? Is that something you could try again? So you're drawing upon their personal experience. You're not automatically going to directing. I think that's very important because it's always, it's so much of our society is about looking outside of ourselves for information. And with our students, too, or children, it's like, they feel that too, right? And so if there's ways that we can encourage them to draw upon their own wisdom and their own intuition, the better. Things like the word exploration is a really wonderful word to me. To me, that creates possibility. It breaks down the perfectionism again, because it's like, okay, I don't have to be perfect at this. We're gonna try this. We're gonna explore this. Even the word practice, sometimes that isn't good for perfectionists, though. But yeah, I think the word explore is a very powerful and word that lowers pressure, and not only lowers pressure, but like incites creativity, right? So if that's a word that you can incorporate as much as possible, to me is really good if you're trying something new, or trying to encourage someone to try something. And also make sure, if you are having a conversation specifically about creating safe space, or make sure to ask them, again, going back to their ideas, like, what is it that would make you more comfortable in this space? Going to the somatic, to the body experience, like, is there, do you need water? Do you, like, what could take care of your body right now? Is there, like, for myself, I like, soft things, or a pillow, or, and sometimes that's not always possible, but maybe it's imagining that you have the pillow, or, something where it's like, you can bring in more of that comfort and easefulness. And again, asking others ideas for what that is, and what is it that will make this space more comfortable. And then again, going back to, like, these things are going to change and update over time. Make sure that this is a continuous conversation. You don't just, again, you're not just creating it in one moment, or and then making sure there's clear ways to receive support if something happens, if there is an issue, or some kind of breach of trust, or do you have clear ways that this person or group of people can access support or receive support outside of you. And just to be clear, that sometimes, I have to be honest with myself and recognize that sometimes I am not the right person to create the safest environment. Maybe I myself might be triggering something in someone. And so recognizing that and asking, is there someone else that could be having this conversation, or that might create more safety, or that I could participate with, and then ease into that, or so these are some of the ways that we create more safety and to be more trauma informed in our spaces. Is there anything else that anyone else does that maybe I didn't mention that they might want to add? Again, going to your expertise, is there anything that maybe I didn't say? I'm just going to look at this chat. I like the idea of allowing the person to share or not share. Yeah, totally. If they have the ability to pass, that's really important. Sometimes the sharing, especially if they're a very internal person, can be like in itself re-traumatizing. If they need to, they can throw it away. A symbolic way of throwing out the bad. A symbolic physically saying good riddance. That's beautiful. That reminds me of an activity that we do. It's the eco art activity where we actually, sort of like what we did today with the worry, where we draw out the worry, and then we recreate that same piece into something else. Like for myself in the activity, I composted it, I smashed it up and ripped it up, and then it became something else. So I love that. Thank you. Lani, the exercise was very affirming with work that I'm already doing. The part that brought the most awareness was finding how little worries were manifesting physically and knowing how I can malama myself. Beautiful. Right, because the little worries are sometimes the things that we push down. Um, and then just someone sharing some love to Lani here. You are the best resource the youth in your life have, like any resource that needs to be taken care of. Right. So just a reminder that maybe maybe a lot of us on the call are the caretakers or the support systems. And if, right, going back to the things that we always hear, but maybe don't do, is that we have to be refueled in order to be able to take care of others. Yeah, thank you everyone for sharing all of that. I did want to share a little bit about like the youth and the processes that I worked into. So one of the works that we did was we started like a youth storefront in Kaka'ako. This was maybe like 7 years ago. And it was a space where a lot of the youth that we were working with, they didn't feel, they really felt like they were failing in school because the education system wasn't quite meeting like their learning style or their needs. And so when they were coming to us, they really felt like they were failures. And it was so hard. It was so heartbreaking because honestly, these kids were some of the most creative people that I had met. And so we were able to start hold this space where they could sell their artwork to the public. And we had monthly community events, and we were doing an arts and cultural mural program. And so they were selling their artwork out in front of our storefront, and then they would like share to the community. And it was like this really hands-on experience about what was working for them, what about like themselves through their art. And then they were witnessing like what it was that people were resonating with, what was it that they liked in terms of like buying their art. And then witnessing their art being sold, and like just the kind of like confidence boost that gave them. And then we would go back and, like the problem solving, the decision making of like, okay, like how can I change this up for next month? Or and so through that process, I became very passionate about like these very real world experiences of them being able to like really understand what it was that they could do in their community, and like to also understand like that the issues and the needs that they have are really the things that their work should be involved in solving. And so that's the work with Wisdom Circles Oceania that we do, is like really about encouraging like passion and purpose. And we hope to have some sort of like permanent like kind of healing art center at some point. And like when I was doing that work, I was really witnessing so many of my, the people around me doing nonprofit work, that we were so burnt out, that we were working so hard. And so the work with Wisdom Circles Oceania, I really want to bring out is like more tools for those, I just say community workers in general, but it's those across sectors of healthcare and education and nonprofits, is like, how can we create more nurturing spaces for us to refuel? And some of the things I just wanted to touch on too, in the way that art supports healing, is that it is more of a somatic feeling. Or a somatic sense. So it connects to the body, as opposed to being this like real cognitive thing where you have to explain or, go to the mind so much for what is happening to you. Where often if children are experiencing trauma, especially from a young age, that might have affected like their verbal and their cognitive abilities. And so often it's really hard. It can be very re-traumatizing to go through experiences that you've had. And so the art is really helpful in making it a more gentle process, and in the process of sometimes that can emerge more naturally in the conversation. And again, like the artistic process can create more safety in the environment, and sort of like the story that is shared back and forth. Oh, like, what did you create? And then it's like the vulnerability of sharing, like even, you know, in the spaces, I imagine that there's a vulnerability that's there. And so you meet someone and you see a part of them that you might not see in a conversation. It also, like in utilizing our hands, to me, it's a very ancestral component of us. It brings ancestral memory to create with our hands. And it's something that exists across all cultures. Everyone created or made, or, you know, even, you know, cooking is another great creative way to connect with to connect with like our somatic beings, and to work through things as well. It's also a beautiful way for opening up more possibilities, for exploring, for problem solving. The artistic process, when you're creating something, you know, oftentimes, I think every time I create, I think I've messed something up, and I have to figure out how to either pivot or change it. And so it's like this very small kind of time frame that you experience like all of these different ways of having to go through a process and problem solving. So I think it's very important, really important skill and process that can support everyone. It's also can be incredibly empowering to create something from your own mind or from your own body. And if you're, you know, through dance or music as well. And in that process, building more confidence and self-esteem as well. So somehow we made it 3:28. I did want, if anyone has anything else to share, I wanted to just share a survey as well. It's just 3 questions. If there's anything that you can share that was helpful in this session today.